Hey, welcome to another brand new episode of Undisputed Anime. This is... Did I say that right? Anime. I have gone off trail. I'm Zane Taicho, your host of this podcast, and I'm joined by my best friendo, Mr. Susu Day. How are you, my friend? Oh, sorry, yeah.
Beautiful. Hey!
For those who are listening, Susu Day was reading a book for a dramatic entrance.
It's perfectly natural. I was absolutely doing. You caught me. Hey, guys, you caught me off guard. I didn't see you come in. Just had to finish that chapter.
Yeah. Good chapter.
Yes, absolutely.
Succulent.
In the randomly selected page of the book that I had chosen.
How's things? How are you?
I'm good. As I was saying before the show, the UK had a massive heatwave. Very last minute. We were on the track for autumn. Everyone was ready for autumn. Well, I was ready for autumn, and all of a sudden it was like 30 plus degrees in the UK, which comes to, I believe, like something similar to 90 plus degrees Fahrenheit. If we have anyone who uses that measurement of heat. So I've always got to double check. I always double check Celsius and Fahrenheit, because when I talk to people I know in the US, I need to be able to tell them a metric that they understand.
Yeah, because is it Imperium? No, wait. Is that
Imperial and metric?
Imperial or Imperium?
It's Imperial.
I'm
Imperium sounds like a spell.
I think Imperium is a wrestling faction. For those who are wrestling fans, let me know. I'm so confused by words today.
Also a 2016 movie starring Daniel Radcliffe.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah. A young FBI agent eager to prove himself in the field goes undercover as a white supremacist.
Wow.
3-star rating on IMDb. So
Daniel Radcliffe must have like a catalogue of an IMDb by now, like of weird movies.
His range is incredible, to be fair.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank the sponsor of today's video, Surfshark VPN, who have given me, now get this, 83% off plus 3 months free. So if you've been meaning to pick up a VPN, now might be the time. Surfshark is a trusted VPN to help you protect your privacy online. Whether that's protecting yourself from malicious websites, or if you're in a public Wi-Fi connection, you can keep your information locked down. Surfshark's clean web feature blocks ads, trackers, malware, and phishing attempts, allowing you to surf the web safely. Plus, it lets you change your virtual location. So if there's an anime on Netflix that's not available in your country, but say in Japan, guess what? You're in Japan now. You want to use BBC iPlayer to watch all of Doctor Who. So pick up Surfshark using the link in the description down below and use the code Undisputed Anime, and you'll get 83% off and 3 months free. Check it out.
Anyway, we're sidetracking. What are we
Always.
doing today? Today we thought it'd be cool to talk about some JRPGs that came out this year. Mainly because A, there's been a lot. B, it's been a great year for video games, as if you have been following any of the video game news recently. And C, we saw the trailer for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth yesterday, which looks fantastic.
I want to cry. It looks so beautiful. I've already got way too much to play at the beginning of next year. And all of a sudden they drop it at the very end of a month when I've already got another JRPG to play that month.
Is that Persona 3 Reloaded?
Yeah, Persona 3 Reloaded comes out at the beginning of February, and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth comes out at the end of February, and in the middle of that, the very same week as Final Fantasy VII, the
Uh-huh.
new Destiny 2 expansion drops.
Oh yeah!
So that
Wow.
drops
I
that
hadn't
drops
thought
on
of
the
that.
that drops on the Tuesday, and on the Friday is when Final Fantasy VII Rebirth comes out.
Wow.
I want to
Oh
cry.
man.
I'm gonna have to make some really tough decisions on time I take off work.
Are you? I mean, if it's any easier, you can move in here, so you have like no family distractions as well.
Thing is that I've got I unfortunately, as well as getting my wife Kira into anime, I also got her big style into these sorts of video games, and as a result, it means that I will be also competing for that.
Ah, yeah. I
So
see. I
maybe
see.
what I need to do is I need to work really hard for the rest of this year, somehow in the next 3 to 4 months, and I need to make it big in content creation, and I need to make in the next 4 months make playing video games my job, which I can support a family of 3 on. So
See, I thought you were going in the direction of I need a 2-monitor setup, one for my wife, one for me, and that way we can, there's no dispute.
all of my problems are solved if I can make playing video games my job.
I see. I see. Yeah.
Yeah, if I can make if you can work hard like a lot of content creators have and make enough money to support a family by doing something like playing video games, then absolutely I've got nothing but respect for you. So
It's very true. It's very true. And the support team underneath them as well, like,
yeah, absolutely.
video editors out there and all the other people,
moderators in their chats, and
yeah, it's an actual tall order. It's
it's a lot of work. It's not just playing video games. There is a lot of work that goes into content creation, and I think that a lot of people who watch these people do not take that into consideration.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so excited for Persona 3 Reloaded. I think it's more the soundtrack. Like, I love that soundtrack.
And it's gonna be it's gonna be like a new one. It's gonna be a new soundtrack, but it's gonna have a new flair.
I will burn my soul.
It's gonna be
I love it.
so good. It's gonna be so good.
Yeah, I can't wait. But this year, I guess we gotta talk about 2023. What a year of video games. Has there been any big standouts for you when you think of 2023 in JRPGs? Is there anything that you're like, wow, that was the pinnacle of the year?
An absolute incredible experience. I mean, there's probably a huge subset of people who will disagree. But I know for a fact that it's had huge success, and that is Final Fantasy 16.
Ooh, starting off strong.
Yeah, well, I mean, Final Fantasy 16. I think that its biggest problem is that people went into it with the expectation that it would be just like just like another Final Fantasy game that they've enjoyed in the past, when actually it's very much its own thing. And it was honestly incredible. And as someone who plays a lot of Final Fantasy 14, which is directed by the same guy, Yoshi P. It's incredible to see what he's been able to do juggling these two massive Final Fantasy titles. Because at the same time, he's also been working on Final Fantasy 14 with that team, and they've obviously announced the next expansion this year as well.
Yeah, he's been crazy in terms of the amount of work he's taken on and produced and stuff. And of course, I'm sure he's got a great team on both sides to help him with his vision and stuff. But like you said, it has been incredible to see the work he's done, and at such a fantastic level as well.
Yeah, I know that there's a lot of news going around at the moment, like saying, oh, the Final Fantasy, like Square Enix has like lost X amount of money um on Final Fantasy 16, but I don't think that that's necessarily the whole story. I
Yeah.
think that there's other stuff involved. I think the people who don't like it are gonna not like it because they're too stuck in the past.
Hmm.
Um, the people who do like it are, you know, just the thing. Like we talk about it all the time, but it's like, just let people enjoy things. Like you don't have to bring down a whole community because you don't like something.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not quite sure I understand. Ooh. I'm not quite sure I completely understand some of the hate it gets as well. Like, I know it's not the tradition of turn-based action and such, but I feel like there's always been some sort of change or tweak over the last couple of years. I think all the way back to Final Fantasy 12 with the van and the judge and stuff.
Hmm.
And there's that weird sort of point and click
Yeah, it's very much
system.
like how Baldur's Gate plays.
Yeah, yeah. And I remember at the time thinking, this is so weird and such a weird, like, well, not so much that it was so weird, but so different to standard turn-based action. Um, yeah, and
I heard
but then
someone. Sorry,
go
go
on.
on.
I was just
I
going
was
to
like,
say, at the time, I was riding off a huge Kingdom Hearts high because this is towards the end of the PS2 era, and I think Kingdom Hearts 2 had come out by then. So,
mhm.
yeah, it was just kind of a weird uh, experience going from
It's
that to
different
then.
change of pace, isn't it? It's a big
Mm,
change of pace, and we got the exact same thing with Final Fantasy VII remake when it first came
hmm.
out.
Yeah.
Like obviously, there were a lot of people who were not happy because the style of combat, the style of the game, was different to the original games. But
Hmm.
then obviously, it's very clear that like when the game came out, they were not able to do all the things that they wanted to do with the game because of like technology restrictions, like
It's
and
true.
stuff. And now they're able to do all the stuff that they originally wanted to do, which is why the game differs in a lot of ways to the original.
Mm.
Which, and to be fair, I'm well for it because I got to experience Final Fantasy VII as it was when I was growing
Yeah.
up, and now I'm getting to experience it from a different point of view. As I said to you and our other friend yesterday, it's very you kind of got to look at it like a fate, like a fate, like sort of system, like
Hmm.
Fate Stay
Yeah.
Night and Unlimited Blade Wars. It's all the same story, just told slightly differently.
It's very true. It's very true. It does make me wonder as well. Like, I wonder if they were to remake any other Final Fantasies, what would change? Like, would the director of say 8 have a different execution and a different thing that they would change? Because again, they've had time to think about the game and the story and characters, and maybe they would have gone, oh, I wish I did this instead. Hindsight, which we've talked about before, but yeah, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Like, what else
Well, I think
could have been?
generally, I think that the combat system would change in any remake. To be fair, I think that turn-based RPGs
Mm.
were very much a necessity rather than a want for them.
Hmm.
Because having played like Final Fantasy VII Remake, you feel so involved in all of those fights. Like it feels great, and that's why
Mm.
Final Fantasy 16 feels good to me as well because like you feel involved like the moment to moment gameplay is great. It feels really and like everything you do has an impact. Whereas in a turn based, you've got time to like kind of think about every little thing and like it's
Strategy
obviously
and
yeah, and it's
yeah.
obviously they're trying not to overwhelm the system. Um, I actually a couple of weeks ago I heard this said. Actually, no, it wasn't a couple of weeks ago. It was actually when Final Fantasy 16 first came out.
Mm.
Um, that it was said that if Final Fantasy 16 had been released and it hadn't been called Final Fantasy, then it wouldn't have gotten any of the like vitriol that's been spewed at it
I see. Yeah.
because people obviously went into it expecting this traditional Final Fantasy experience.
Yeah,
So,
that makes a lot of sense.
but it was a cinematic marvel, so
That's true, and that's what I sign up for, is the cinematic element and the story. Remind me, with 15, the combat, you didn't play as a party, did you? Although you had the guys with you. I don't remember playing as any as the
yeah.
other
So
characters.
in Final Fantasy 15, it was very much the same sort of idea as 16, in that you control Noctis, so you control Clive, and all of the other companions are like AI.
Yeah.
And they do their own thing. However, through the DLC for Final Fantasy 15, you did get to, because they did episodes based on every single character. So they did episode
Yeah.
Noctis, episode Gladio, episode like Ignis, and you got the stories focused around them, and you played as them, and they were
Yeah.
really good. Like episode Prompto, incredible. It was like a whole game of its own.
I've heard good things about that one. I never
Yeah.
went back and played those, but maybe I should at some point. But yeah,
I've been
it's,
really wanting to replay Final Fantasy 15. To be fair, I think that I'd like to go back at it with the gift of hindsight, because I don't think it was about. I wasn't unhappy with it at the time. Like, sure, I think that as with a lot of things, there are things that I would have liked done differently. But usually, when I go back to games, I'm like, actually, this was really solid. We just went into it with too many expectations as a result of the game being in development for so many years.
That's true. I think I really rushed it as well. I remember not doing nearly enough side quests, and I got to a point where I wasn't leveled high enough, I don't think, for certain story points. But yeah, that makes. I think I really did want to try and beat it though, because it'd been so long, and I just wanted to charge through. But
yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
So what's your what's a game, a JRPG that's had an impact on you
This
year?
year? I'm just scrolling through the list now, and I think now it would be really easy for me to say Pokemon, especially the new DLC that came out this month.
Just this month.
Yeah, so I think that'd be really easy to say, but I don't know really. I guess I played the demo for Octopath Traveler 2, and I was really impressed with that. I didn't think I'd like it as much as I did. So that was really cool. And a similar effect with Sea of Stars. Again, I downloaded the demo, and I instantly felt like I was playing like. Do you remember a game on the Game Boy? I think it was Game Boy Advance called. What's it called?
Golden Sun.
Golden Sun. Yeah.
Incredible. Loved Golden Sun.
Yeah. Something about those games just give me Golden Sun vibes, and I guess it's just kind of like a nostalgia hit for me to be like, oh, I get it. This feels like that, So
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that. So I have like, as I said to you, I've downloaded the full game of Sea of Stars. I've been following it for ages. I've been waiting for it to come out. Unfortunately, it's come at a time where I've got like 15 other things going on. But I'm looking forward to getting involved in Sea of Stars in the future. I've seen a lot of comparisons to Secrets of like Mana, like Tales of Mana and stuff like that.
So have I. Yeah.
But it looks incredible. If in the same way that people obviously went into things like Final Fantasy 16 expecting a more traditional RPG experience, I think that games like Sea of Stars are going to be delivering on the traditional RPG experience, but lacking all of the the weights that held back older titles. Like, they're better to play. There's a lot more accessibility in them.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the other sort of beauty of them as well is that even though they are kind of adopting a classic style of gameplay and bringing it to a modern console and a modern style with its art style and such, I think there is an ease of access, like you said, to it. So, for example, I downloaded Sea of Stars, the demo, on the Switch, and it's just a nice, easy pick up and play. There's no kind of like booting up my PlayStation, and it just, again, it comes with me everywhere I go. So even if it is that I have to travel for work, I don't have to give it much thought. Do you know what I mean? It's not like, oh, where did I get up to this time? Like, oh yeah, there, and then carry on. I don't know. It just feels like a nice, easy pick up and play for me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And some games like that are important, especially when everyone is so busy these days. Like, having something that you can that requires no effort. I think in the past, like that's why I've like kind of these are two very different games, but like it's reasons like that where like after I've had a really hard day, I'm more likely to pick up a game like Destiny 2 than I am to play Final Fantasy 14, because Final Fantasy 14, even though I've got it on console, I've got to start the game up, and then I've got to find like my key fob to be able to do the password, and there's like a whole like process. Whereas if I put on D2, it's just like I press play and I'm there, I'm doing it.
Yeah, I think that's part of. I know it's slightly off subject, but I think that's part of the charm of Destiny 2 as well. Is like you said, after a long day, I'm more likely to jump into like Crucible or Iron Banner or something, just to kind of like, well, I just want a quick sort of fix.
I just want to shoot the man in the face.
Instead of going in and going like, right, what's the maximum way of getting drops this week, grand dungeons and stuff. So I think that has a beauty to it, but at the same time, like kind of bringing it back to JRPGs, I think something like Star Rail has really helped with that as well, because again, the accessibility of it on mobile, there is a grind element to it, but at the same time, like it's just so easy to pick and play, and you're in it.
I'm not addicted to Star Rail at all. It was gonna be my next thing that I talked about, which is Honkai Star Rail. I didn't get into Genshin Impact. I don't know why. I just didn't like Genshin Impact. Didn't fly with me. I picked up Star Rail. It's turn-based combat. It just feels much better to play on a mobile device. I've got it on my phone and my iPad. It's like the perfect thing to play when Kira is playing on the PS5, or if she's watching something, because I can just get my iPad out and I can play like a pretty solid little RPG, like on my iPad. I don't really have a lot to say about it. It serves fills a gap in my life.
Yeah,
if it, like of needing something to do when I can't do other things.
Visually speaking as well, fantastic. I love the visuals in it. Chef's kiss, like it is just gorgeous, super satisfying. I love the supers, and again, it's not too complicated to not get your head around the mechanics and things.
Yeah, because it's literally like literally every character has a basic attack, a special attack, and a super move. That is all there is to it. There's no like and like enemies have weaknesses and characters have a type, and it's kind of like everything. You just got to kind of look at it as simply as that. And the worlds are massive and beautiful. It's the music's great. I've been listening to some of it on Spotify lately, in fact.
Music's great. I feel like I'm starting to follow more and more voice actors that are in Star Rail as well.
I follow so many voice actors in everything I want. Any game I play, I see a voice actor of a character I like. I'm following you on social media. I want to find out what you got going on in your head.
Even if they are a VTuber, which I feel like some of them are now, they've kind of like understood that they have like an audience for them, which is great. So yeah, make sure to support your favorite voice actors, guys. Because
absolutely, it's a tough, it's a competitive, a very competitive field to work in, and even though it's never been easier to start up. To land, it's like with any acting gig, it takes a lot of grit and guts to actually work at it to get big roles.
It's very true. Should we talk about those that we're kind of looking forward to coming out in the near future, or do you have any others that you want to kind of mention for this year?
Yeah, so I'll quickly go over a few just now because I, as you know, as I'm known for on the show, I play a lot of video
Mm.
games.
Yeah.
So I've touched on a lot. Forspoken,
Oh yeah. Right at the beginning
Forspoken,
of the year.
very beginning of the year. I've been really looking forward to it. Overall, very good. I found I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the story, but I think that as a lot of people found, there was a lot that was lacking with the game.
Yeah.
And a lot of like kind of there's a lot of things that didn't feel quite as good as they could have been. You can play in the game, you can see the direction that they were going in and what they were
Hmm.
trying to do. The implementation, I don't think, was quite there, and that's a shame because it is a beautiful game, beautiful world. It's got a really intriguing like combat system, and the traversal feels fantastic because you're basically just like free running across the map at high speeds. Um, but yeah, it's a bit disappointing that the studio, as a result, has been dissolved.
Oh
Um,
wow.
yeah, the studio got dissolved. So the story ends. The game ends like kind of like not on a cliffhanger, but it ends in a way of like this is like something could happen. Like what's
Hmm.
going to happen next? It like leaves you like asking that question of like what's going to happen next because she's still there. There's still this like blight on the land and stuff, and it's like, well, now I'm never going to find out. And it bugs me when games end before you find out what happened. It's like what happened with Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah.
Like, wasn't like the best Mass Effect game. It definitely was an enjoyable experience though. But you get to the end of it, and it ends on like a cliffhanger, and you know that it was meant to be a trilogy, like the originals. So it's kind of like,
Oh wow. Yeah.
so much stuff was like left open ended. So, and we never got the answers to those questions.
Um, how did you find the dialogue? Because all I hear about is the dialogue in Forspoken was so cardboard.
So, what I found with it is that there are some you know how you go into a lot of games and you have you speak with someone, and then
Mm.
sometimes they just do not get like the interface for like cutscenes right,
Like
and
Bethesda interactions.
yeah, so you'd find that like you go into like an interaction with someone and they'd be talking to you, and a lot of the characters' voice acting is really good, but then like some of the like lesser characters, their
Mm.
voice acting didn't feel quite as like natural. Like you said, it felt a bit cardboard, and also it feels like throughout every interaction, it feels like every single if you had like a list of questions to ask or something like that, it feels like it was lots of cutscenes like stitched together. So
Oh really?
you'd get to the end of someone talking about something, and then they'd start talking about something else happening. But it felt like another cutscene had started without
Yeah.
in that same instance, and it was kind of that was a bit weird, a bit disappointing. Um, but yeah, like, I think overall, I come away from video games like in a way of like even if they're not like the best video game,
Mm.
did I get my money's worth out of it? Did I
Hmm.
enjoy did I begrudge spending time in that world? Like
Mm.
because there have been games where I've gotten them and I've never finished them because I'm like this game isn't good and I'm not enjoying my experience. Forspoken, it wasn't the best game I've played this year, like far from it, but it was definitely enjoyable. I really enjoyed playing it.
Amazing.
And yeah. Um Off from Forspoken, other games I played this year. And now I have forgotten. We could touch on. I'm not going to go into it in too much detail. We've got like things like Monster Hunter Rise.
Yes.
They obviously had an expand. So thing is, I'm talking about Monster Hunter Rise because I played the core game. I've not
Mm.
played the expansion because I've been too busy, and that's
Okay.
what
Yeah.
came out this year. Like Sunbreak came out, I think, this year,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but I haven't had a opportunity to play it.
Would you
Unfortunately.
just on the subject of Monster Hunter? I saw they're doing like a Pokemon Go version. Um, does that interest you as a Monster Hunter player?
I'm not. I think it would really depend on like where I'm at in life. I think if it came out during like the same period, if it came out in the period where when Pokemon Go came out, I'd probably
Uh-huh.
be much more into it. I've kind of like done it now. I kind of like got Pokemon Go out of my system. Like
Yeah.
so it's kind of like not something that I probably invest any time in. Who knows? Maybe it'll turn out to be like incredible, and
Mm.
I'll really want to play it. But for now, I'm trying very hard not to take on too much
Yeah.
responsibility gaming wise, because then I feel pressured to play games. I'm trying to focus on single things at the moment.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That makes a lot of sense. I know it was a huge game that came out this year that we haven't really mentioned, mainly because, well, I haven't got it yet. But Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
Again, I really want to play Tears of the Kingdom.
I really want to play
I
it.
just do not have the time to play. I do not have the time to invest in it right now. Again, it looks incredible. I came quite late to Breath of the Wild. I played it like years after it actually released.
Mhm.
I just can't put another thing on my plate right now.
I'm kind of hoping, and if any relatives or family members are listening, I'm kind of hoping that it ends up on. I get it for Christmas, and then you've got that Christmas period to try and like to play it and enjoy it. Do you know what I mean? Without the
Yeah.
interruption of work and life and everything else. But saying that, Christmas could also be super busy because family and friends want to see you and such. So, but yeah, I kind of hope that might be the perfect opportunity to play it.
Yeah, I get the feeling it probably would be. I'm also kind of like holding off on it because I have a Switch Lite, which is a great little console, but I would love to play like Tears of the Kingdom on a big screen.
Yes, same.
So I'm kind of like holding back because like if I get the opportunity to get like a regular Switch or the newer version of it, I'd rather play Tears of the Kingdom on that rather than on my Switch Lite because it was like playing Breath of the Wild was fine. It was a good experience, but like I feel like it would have been just better.
Yeah. It's crazy to imagine like what it can do, the Switch, in terms of when you see a game like that, like visually amazing and stuff. So I completely agree with you. I mean, fingers crossed. I don't know if you've seen or heard the rumors about potentially there being a Switch 2 next year. So I'm kind of expecting like maybe the OLEDs and the standard Switch to maybe drop in price to kind of get rid of that stock. Because that normally, using technology like mobile phones as example, there's usually like a drop in price of like previous models just before the new one gets announced, sort of thing. So I'm kind of hoping that might be a similar thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've only got two other things on this list that I've got here that I would talk about. And the secret here is that they're on this list, but I played them like 10 years ago.
Go
and
on.
that is obviously Persona 3 Portable and Persona 4 Golden got ported over to next gen.
Yes,
which means that obviously a lot of people who hadn't experienced it before have played it. Like I said, I played these games years ago, and it's safe to say that I played them to a degree where I can't actually play them anymore.
Yeah,
because Persona games are those sorts of games where once you've done everything and you've got every single trophy or achievement and you found every single secret, they just do not feel great to play anymore.
Yeah.
That's not shit. That's not shade, and that's not like a criticism. But like, I you know, when you overplay something, like when you read a book over and over again, and then you reread it, and then you're like, well, I know what happens next. There's no surprise anymore. I know where everything is. I know where all the story beats are. That's what. But it's safe to say that like of games that I play, the Persona titles are some of my favorite ever.
Yeah.
And I will sink a lot of time into any Persona games that come out in the future. Oh wait, we were just talking about that. Persona 3 Reload is coming out in February. Transition.
Yeah, I do agree with you though. Like, overplaying is a real effect. Because I remember getting Persona 5, and it felt like next to no time till there was Persona 5 Royal, and it's just kind of like I feel like I need a slightly bigger break because, again, as old as we are, the gap between like Persona 4 and Persona 4 Golden was like years.
Yeah, it was a much bigger, whereas Persona 5 Royal was, I think, only a year or two later.
Yeah.
But what I would say for that is that, like, and I know that a lot of people have gripes about Atlas doing this, doing like releasing a base version of a game and then 2 years later releasing like a better version of the game. But like honestly, like Persona 5 Royal and the upgraded versions of the games are the way to experience the games. Like they are just so much better. It's kind of like they released the original game and it's like kind of an alpha version of that game or a beta test of that game, and then they take all the feedback from that and they're like, okay, let's put all that feedback into a better version of the game. And I'll buy it every single time.
That's very true. Yeah, me too. And I think like it feels so bizarre. Like the success of Persona 5 is so vast, like to the point like this year we're getting Persona 5 Tactics, I think, or is it into next year?
Yeah, I think it's coming out just later this year for Persona 5 Tactics. Persona 5, yeah, it's got like so many little spin-offs. I'm waiting for a fighting game to be announced because we've obviously got a fighting game. We've got 2 fighting games for Persona 4, and one of them included the Persona 3 characters. We've got Persona 4 Dancing All Night. We've got Persona 3
Arena?
Dancing in Moonlight. And we've got Persona 5 Dancing in Starlight. And so we've got like 3 like dancing titles. We've got Persona 5 Strikers.
Oh yeah,
Incredible game.
I forgot about that.
We've also got like the Persona 3 and 4 Persona 4 and 5 Shadows of the Labyrinth games. Like they make for such good spin-off games.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah, I completely forgot about that. There was the one. I'm trying to follow my thought trail now to me, and I don't think it's completely true. But there was that one game that came out on the Wii U. I think it's called like Tenshin something, and it's a cross between Fire Emblem and the Personas, I think.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. I'm gonna see if I can find out the name.
I know it's available on Switch because I think it came out during the time of
You talk about you talk about Tokyo Mirage Sessions.
Yes, Mirage Sessions. Yes.
Yeah. Very similar thing, yeah. Whereas like it was like an idle game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Didn't play, but I always like thought about picking it up if it got like cheap because I was like, you know what? That seems like it might be just like a fun thing to like pass a couple of hours.
Exactly. I never owned a Wii U, so I never really thought about getting it. But when I saw that it got ported to the Switch, I thought, oh yeah, might have to add that to the list. Another kind of thing we may have overlooked, but there were a Fire Emblem, I think, at the beginning of the year as well.
Yes, we had Fire Emblem.
Is it Engaged?
I'm gonna find out because I really love Fire Emblem games, but Fire Emblem Engage. I really want it, but another thing, I've just got not got the time.
Yeah, I don't think, just from what I've seen online, again from fans and stuff, I don't think it was widely as popular as Three Houses. I think that's still like the most popular one.
Yeah, I think Three Houses like kind of like hit the sweet spot.
Mm,
Whereas I think people liked what the idea behind Engage, because obviously you get to like summon past like Fire
Heroes and
Emblem
stuff.
heroes.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of people, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think a lot of people were turned off by the main character design. This like kind of
Oh,
like
yeah.
red and blue, like half and half like character.
Yeah. No, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, so again, that might be one to put on the Christmas list. I wouldn't turn it away if someone gave it to me as a gift. Um
Are you listening, guys? Are you listening?
I think the last one I was going to mention that came out this year was Ever Crisis. We talked a lot about Final Fantasy VII. Ever Crisis, a mobile version, a condensed version of all previous like titles and such. Yeah, I kind of dig it. I've only played it a little bit, but I know it's like again card based version, but I'm having a little fun with it.
See, I've got it downloaded, but I've not yet played it because every time I go to pick up my iPad, I'm like, I'm playing Star Rail, aren't I? That's what I'm doing. So I've been meaning to pick it out because I obviously, I've never really been one for mobile gaming. I've never really gotten into it until I started playing like Star Rail, and now I'm like, I'm into this now. Like, let's go. Let's give Ever Crisis a go. And it'll be a great way to. It's a great way for people who haven't had an opportunity to play all of the spin-off titles for Final Fantasy VII to experience the story of those in a slightly different format. So obviously, there's things like you also had Crisis Core, which got a remaster just at the end of last year.
Yes.
We have like the mobile title from like. And I can't remember if it actually came out in the US or in the UK, but we had Before Crisis, which was focused on the Turks
Yes, I
and
remember that.
their interactions with Soldier.
Yeah.
There's lots of like you had Dirge of Cerberus, which I know that I know someone who's very fond of Dirge of Cerberus. So there's a lot of Final Fantasy VII like spin-offs that people haven't experienced that we'll probably get to in this title. And I know they're going to be adding new story in like on a certain cadence.
Mm-hmm.
So
also, one thing I really like, because I'm a sucker for gimmicks and cosmetics. Let's all be truthful here. We're gamers. We love cosmetics. They've got loads. If you check out their Twitter, there's loads of different like costume packs for characters and stuff. So there's like a really cool samurai outfit for Cloud, and he's got like, I don't know, 4 katanas on him and stuff. So it's just kind of like, oh man, that looks pretty cool. Like to be a version of Cloud who's like decked out in samurai gear and stuff. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna keep playing it. I don't know if it's a loot box or something. I hope to God it's not, but
I'm pretty sure it probably is going to be. I think that much to the dismay of a lot of gamers, microtransactions and loot boxes are just a thing now. It's how the industry works, and I know that you can argue that some games are able to do X, Y, and Z, and they don't need to have any microtransactions in it. But arguably, things are getting more expensive for us as consumers. They're also getting more expensive it's becoming more and more expensive to make games as well.
Yeah.
And they've obviously got to get they've got to get the cheddar however they can. I don't condone the way that a lot of producers do it, like a lot of devs do it, but arguably another source of income for a game is a good thing.
Yes.
If it's like cosmetic, we don't want to go down the Call of Duty routes where you can buy the best gun in the game.
Yeah, it breaks the meta. I don't know if it's as bad as it used to be. I feel like it's ringed in a little bit, but I mean, not to say it's completely disappeared off the board. Like, again, I think there was a new 2K basketball NBA game, and it's just riddled with microtransactions and stuff.
Yeah.
So again, it's not disappearing or anything.
Well, I think there was a EU gambling law put in place in video games, and that's affected the way that they can do it, because they need to. They're not allowed to do like loot boxes in a certain way now, like, because it basically does equate to gambling if you don't know like what you're getting.
Yeah, like a slot machine sort of scenario. Yeah.
So,
I guess the one other game I'm really looking forward to, I don't know if it will land this year because I think it's been pushed back like 9 times, but Blue Protocol.
Yes, Blue Protocol.
I think that's the only other game I was expecting to come out this year, but sadly, no dice. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one.
Sad little Zane. Little do you know, listeners and viewers, that Zane often calls me late at night and just weeps at his sadness about this game.
Yeah. I mean, once I saw that dual wielding, which is everything my life and my personality and every aspect of me is based on, and that game is not in my life yet to allow me to pursue such a combat style. It's nothing but tears and woes and depression.
It to us. Give it to us, you cowards. And while we're at it, because obviously this is a huge podcast with millions of listeners, give us a Zone of the Enders 3, you cowards.
Kojima!
Give it to us!
Kojima! Are you listening? Stop working on Death Stranded 2.
Put it in my veins.
Complete the trilogy.
Yeah. So much more that could be done. So much more. Or at least give us a spiritual successor.
Yeah, I like that. That'd be cool.
I know.
Kojima
Anyway.
Productions. It'd be really weird though. Like
it would be.
Yeah, it'd be.
It's honestly wild. Like, I thought that like some of Kojima's stuff was like weird while he was still like a Konami and stuff like that, and then he left, and he like the faucet broke. The content that he is putting out is that's like, it's like he's got like several brains in his head. I think he's got a machine he connects up to like several other brains, like in a chair, and he like.
I don't know if you knew this or not, but ChatGPT is just a brain scan of Kojima. Like
that would make sense. Like every time I've asked ChatGPT a question, it's tried to explain the Death Stranding to me. Not the game. Yeah. It's not trying to explain the game Death Stranding. It's trying to explain the actual physical manifestation of the Death Stranding to me.
And then talks about Mids Mackelson for no reason whatsoever. But I'm not going to say no to it because it's Mackelson.
Yeah,
Mads Mikkelsen. Yeah. Anyways, I think that's the episode, right?
Yeah, I think that we've sufficiently ranted off our likes.
What are your thoughts? What games are you looking forward to of 2024? What's been a good game of 2023? We want to know. Make sure to leave a comment in the section down below. To be fair, there's been some recent comments on all our platforms, not only on YouTube, but also on the podcasting platforms, as well as our social medias. There was a clip of our discussion on Yamcha being like the most relatable Z fighter, and there's one.
He's just a
comment.
regular guy. He's just a guy.
There's one comment on TikTok, and I can't remember who it was who said it, but they talk about Yamcha like he's the most alpha thing in DBZ, and I love it so much. It's just amazing.
That's right. That's the kind of like hot conversations we want to have. That's
the stuff we look for.
Tell us why we're wrong. Like if you think we're wrong, tell us why we're wrong, and we might agree with you.
I think it goes along the lines of something like Yamcha didn't lose the fight against Cell Jr. He survived Cell Jr. And I was like, this is amazing. I love it.
That is true, because where other mortal men may have like died altogether, he endured.
Yeah. Any other human would have fumbled, but not Yamcha.
If it was Yamcha and not is it Tenten?
Tien?
No, not Tien. I'm talking about the wee guy. Looks like a doll. Chaozu. If it was Yamcha self-destructing and not Chaozu, Yamcha would have survived. Is that what I'm hearing here?
It was Nappa who had been sent to the other world, and not Chaozu.
Incredible.
So yeah, we love the comments. Make sure to drop them, of course, in the comment section of wherever you're listening and watching, and yeah, we will no doubt speak to you soon. We got to do the autumn lineup. We got so much coming up recently. Autumn lineup. We've got lineup. Potentially Comic Cons.
Potentially.
Hint there. So yeah, make sure to lock in, like, share, subscribe, and we shall see you soon. Peace and love. Have you seen the weird one the kids do these days? It's like this.
Oh, they like link fingers, don't they? Like
they
do that.
They're like, yeah, love. Weird.
Kids today.
Kids today. Ta-ta.
Peace.